The governments need people to spend because they've created all of this liquidity, all of these new currencies, and make no mistake, every time they do that, the currency that's already out there loses value, which is why you saw gas at 671. It's probably going higher, and so are food. I mean, food on a global basis it is the biggest issue for most people as we go through the reset and the hyperinflation. And the interesting thing is, and there could be something different, but I haven't been able to find it yet, is that this, when we go into the digital currency system, in order to justify creating that new currency, they're still basing it on debt. So they have to get rid of all the debt, or most of the debt, that is in the system in order to reset into something new. And I have a real concern that when they do introduce that digital currency, people will assume and think, oh, it's fixed, right? It's not. It's a tool to create that hyperinflation. Because whether it's hyperdeflation or it's hyperinflation, I mean, they're really just the flip side of the same coin. The only way to fight deflation is with inflation, and frankly, the only way to fight inflation is with deflation. So they're between a rock and a hard place because they've used up really all their tools, and they're trying to create new tools to work with. But it's a big experiment. It's a huge experiment. And, there are lots of unintended consequences from those experiments. Only difference between inflation and hyperinflation is the speed of the inflation. And as you indicated earlier, when they could keep it around 2%, it still happened. You still lost 2% of your purchasing power per year, right, compounding, but it was slow enough that you didn't notice it. It's not slow anymore.
Right.
And I'm so glad that Powell has finally come out and said, well, maybe it's not, maybe inflation is stickier than they anticipated. And it's going to be even stickier because wages are sticky.
Right.
In other words, you pay somebody $10 an hour, you're not going to turn around and be able to give them $5. Though through inflation, they make that 10 spend like 5. And all of that has enabled that income inequality and that wealth inequality. And so now they're battling that, but they created it and they continue to create it. The easier it is to spend money, the more money we spend. Mm-hmm. And if we are inspired to buy that new car or buy that new dress or what have you, and what you have all of your money and all of your equity held on your phone. How easy is it to spend?
Got it.
Without even thinking about it. And then what you've really done is you have volunteered it, right? So as long as they can maintain our confidence, this is a con game, it requires confidence. So as long as they can maintain our confidence, the central banks know what they're doing, mm-hmm, right? The dollar can never go away. What are they talking about? They're talking about a digital dollar. So they keep things as close to the same as what people are used to until it's too late. So officially, there's about 3 cents left in purchasing power on the dollar. In reality, the only reason why it's still viable is because people have confidence in the dollar. So this is definitely a con game, but you can take a dollar out of the bank, at least at this point, and protect your principal, right? You're not going to protect the purchasing power because inflation is controlling that. And we all see what's happening with inflation speeding up really, really dramatically these days. And obviously, so programmable money means that for, particularly for central banks, since there's no purchasing power left, they can attack your principal. And if everything that you own is inside of the system, right, as if it's all held in fiat dollars, when they attack that principal value, well, there's really nothing you can do about it other than spending it so that you buy anything that you think will hold its value better than the currency. In this programmable system, you can sit there and watch your principal evaporate knowing you haven't spent any money, but it's those negative interest rates. And if you're still not spending that money, they just push a button and have those rates go more deeply negative. So they know instantly if their programs are working, and if they're not, then they can instantly change them for everybody all at once in real time and force you to do what they want you to do. That's programmable money. And, aside from the negative rates, if they don't like what you say or what you're doing, if you don't go along with what they want, well, they can push a button and have that money disappear. Or you lose complete access to it. And there's nothing you can do about it. On a personal note, all of my focus, or at least most of my focus, has been on ensuring that my children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren retain choices. And I think the only way that you can, if we just allow the takeover, the only way that you can really have a shot at that is by holding wealth that's outside of the system, and real money gold and real money silver, because then you have choices. You can always convert gold into any currency and therefore any good or any service. But if you leave it in the system, they're already telling you we need more inflation. What that's really saying is that the currency, wherever you are in the world, the currency is overvalued. That's what that means. It's real simple. And we're going to take it down. We need more inflation. Even with the increase in the wages, has it kept pace with the inflation that we've been seeing? Not even marginally close. So, for people that have plenty, does it really matter if the gas is $6.71 a gallon? No, they're still going to put it in their cars and they're still going to drive wherever. But for somebody that's even making $15 an hour, that's $6.71. That's a lot of their time to work. And they might have to make a choice between putting food on the table or putting gas in the car.